Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Please be seated. So we are here to agree or comment or debate the contents of the long-term plan, but I've got a couple of things to say first. So welcome to the reconvened meeting from the 25th of February. It will be live streamed. I have got an apology from Councillor Coughlin. I move that that be received. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Foster. That's all I need to do with the apology.
Did you vote on it?
And if you could just vote to accept the apology. I think this is slightly antiquated, but that's how we do it. Now, we have... Are we doing it with the whole... We shouldn't need to vote on apologies. Councillor Peck and Marsh and Eagle and Ahipini Mercer, apparently we are using the machine to do this. Don't think we usually do, Helga. Dear God, okay. Right, now we've got still a long way before May and June when we agree the long-term plan. We've got a lot of opportunity for public input, but today's a pretty important milestone, and I do want to make some thank yous to staff who've been involved. There have been a huge number of policy staff, financial staff, our chief executive and executive leadership team, and of course Democratic Services. But there are a few people in particular, and if they're not here, please pass on to them our thanks. Sue Mon, Brendan Eckert, Paul Johnson, Marissa Cairncross and Marty Reid. Bede Kearney is in attendance and I'll ask him to speak briefly on the audit in a few moments. And just moving to, do we have, is it reconvened? We don't need to do conflict of interest again.
I just put it in there because it's an item that we haven't considered. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I will call on the members present to declare any conflicts of interest that they may have in relation to items on the agenda. No? So. We've already voted on that. We're voting on the consultation document. You've already voted on what should and shouldn't be in.
Voted on projects and programs, item 2.5 on the agenda last week. What was that? Sorry.
She said we've already voted on the projects and programs. This is just about whether the consultation document reflects our decisions well enough for the public to understand. So I wasn't expecting that anyone would have a conflict of interest, but, you know, we go through the formalities, councillors. So I would now like to ask Bede Kearney to come and speak to the audit report, which we're now including. And when he's spoken, I'll just remind you about what is different from what we have already agreed.
Thank you, Your Worship. I spoke last week and explained the audit and our role. So really, all I have to update you this week is that we've now completed our audit. I have signed my audit report, and I can now make that available on the consultation document. That becomes part of the consultation document that you will be considering shortly.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you. We now have this included in our report. You'll either be looking at it on the hub. Sorry, this is already on. It's been given out to councillors, hasn't it? Yeah. So this is a formal handing over, but you will see it whether you've got it in the hard copy on page... Somebody who's got a hard copy can elucidate that. Sally? Page 57, or those of us that are looking at it on the hub can look at it there. But I just would like to note we're including the audit report. We're including the statement of proposal on the Pacific Precinct, and we're adding a couple of tables to illustrate the rates, limits and increases, because that was felt to be a clearer way of explaining them. There have been some tweaks to grammar and phrasing and some typographical corrections, and if councillors have any more, please share them with Brian Hanna. I still have a Macron issue that needs to be resolved, Mr. Hanna. That would be terrific. Now, this is quite a big deal. This is going out with our plans for the next 10-year budget, and of course with the infrastructure strategy for longer. And it is an investment package. But let's be really clear, until we get business cases for individual projects, they are not approved. But if we were not to put any money in for our investment projects, it would be as if we were imagining the rates fairy would fly down and suddenly decide to fund them. We have debated the projects and programs. We have taken advice from officers, and Audit have said that this consultation document is a reasonable plan to go out to the public with. So while there is on individual projects some debate, and I'm sure there will be some change before we agree in May, I'm really confident that we are acting in the best interests of Wellington with our plan. The order of convention centre, runway extension, film museum, tech hub, those are matters that will develop over the next few months and years. I think it's really exciting that we've managed to do that without cutting back libraries, cutting back community centres, or reducing our commitment to our reserves, parks, and in fact we're increasing our commitment to art in this creative capital. So I'm delighted to move the remaining recommendation 4, agree to adopt the final consultation document, including the report from the Auditor General under Section 93C4 of the Local Government Act, attached as Attachment 1. So I move, seconded by Councillor Young. And who would like to speak? Okay. Nobody is on the... Oh. Councillor Ritchie. Sorry, I saw your hand first. I'm calling on Councillor Ritchie.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councillors, first of all, I think it's really, really important that we are clear in relation to the audit report. I hear your words, and they were that this is a reasonable plan to go out to the public with, but actually we have to be really careful to say to the public, as they have said in their report, which will be attached, that the Audit Office does not comment on the merit of the report, which I think your comments almost did. I just want to make it very, I'm not going to take a lot of time. As you know, I have serious concerns and I've expressed them. I will signal those concerns to the public by opposing what we have before us today. Whether I oppose the final document will depend on what kind of changes are brought forward and what kind of comments are made by the public. I do not believe that what we have here is sustainable. I don't believe that 5% increase in rates average, 5.7 if you average it out, is sustainable in the first year, let alone cumulatively in the third year and the 10 years. I am concerned about the Town Hall. As you know, I think there is significant delay of programs, 7 years from the time it was closed, which is not acceptable. I am concerned about what I've called slush funds. They need to be examined very closely by the public. I'm really pleased that we will have a new Johnsonville Library, and I'm really pleased with the infrastructure programs and the environmental initiatives in here. Finally, if I may, Madam Mayor, I really would like, through the CEO, to thank the staff involved, and there are a lot of staff involved, in relation to 3 amazing initiatives that have been taken by this council recently. First of all, Bond Street. That has far exceeded my expectations when I coerced the businesses some long time ago, twice, to come to this council to make improvements there. And I want to say, as portfolio leader of the natural environment, to see those people lining up yesterday to admire the trees and bush that came to Bond Street was amazing. And secondly, to see people receive free trees and take them carefully down the city smiling was also amazing. And I think we have a lot to learn from that one day. Secondly, Civic Square, which is gradually coming to life, and there's some really good initiatives. And thirdly, the
particular project is in or not. Councillors have been really clearly told that with the new legislation, the long-term plan is not just a list of all of our projects and plans. It's more of a direction and an overview. And it's quite challenging for us to then come to, and how much exactly is that going to cost the public. So, and Councillor Ritchie, when I spoke with Bede, it's not just him looking at the book or going around looking at the reports or speaking with the staff. He also came and talked to me about how realistic I thought the projects were, whether we were likely to stick to our budget limits, questions like that, quite high-level questions. So it is a little bit more than a formulaic, yes, these words reflect what we have agreed in the programmes and projects. So I think we are all, Audit and ourselves and other councils are finding our way with the new legislation, and I think there will be feedback to government as to whether they need to amend it slightly so that people can engage more fully. I look forward to all of you actually engaging with the different publics that we all connect with, and let's all be very clear that this is our collective best effort for the future of Wellington, but we are also willing to adapt if given good reasons. So it's not just about the numbers of submissions, it will be about the quality and the argumentation in those submissions. Councillor, you mentioned a different number, Councillor Ritchie. Let's be clear, for many years we have focused on the rate after ratepayer growth, and that's usually a fairly conservative estimate of the growth in the rating base. So let's be clear, we are proposing an average of 3.9% over 10 years and 4.7% for the first year. Thank you. I declare it carried, and I will now just do the Bede's actually brought up the signed opinion and letter of representation. Do you want to come and formally do it? And now that we've voted, I think it's just quite a useful thing to do. That was the order I had it in anyway. I think we got slightly ahead of ourselves.
Oh, okay.
So,
well, you needed to have my
thank
sign
you very
on
much.
to pass the resolution.
Yes.
So that's fine.
Yes, great.
But, you're going to sign for me. We can do that now.
Yeah,
right?
we can. Thank you. Thank you.
So thank you. So
Right.
the next time will be for the long-term plan itself in June, I imagine.
It will, and keep in touch. And
Certainly will.
yeah.
We'll do that.
right.
Great.
Thank you, Bede.
Thank you.
And thank you, councillors. We now have a consultation document ready to go out, and I look forward to you being at the launch and arranging meetings in addition to what's already been suggested. So the meeting's ended, but if you've got any question, come and...
I actually do have a question, and I think it is reasonably important, and it's, it's just offline, anyone's free to leave, but the annual plan that we did last year was quite detailed, and yet, as I'm understanding it, we're actually approving now with this document our annual plan for our upcoming year.
Well, that's the first year of 10.
That's right, but when you consider the level of detail that we went out for